Happy Saturday morning, everybody. Welcome to yoga. I'm Michelle Chua.
Can't hear her.
So in the past few weeks, or few days this week, and before that, we've been diving into empathy and compassion. How does that relate to yoga specifically? Well, in the Yoga Sutras, book 1, number 33, it recites 4 keys to inner peace. And it says, a serene and peaceful mind, or chitta prasadanam, is cultivated, or bhavanata, by being friendly, maitri, towards happy people, sukha, compassionate, karuna, towards those who are suffering, dukkha, delighted, mudita, with those who are virtuous, punya, and disengaged or undisturbed, upeksha, by those who are doing harm, apunya. So just pulling out that one key, compassion towards those who are suffering, is actually one of the 4 main keys for cultivating inner peace. And I got that translation from Weekly Sutra. Here's an interview with Buddhist monk mindfulness teacher Thich Nhat Hanh on the website Uplift. He talks about how forgiveness is a benefit. The ability to forgive is a benefit of practicing compassion. So yesterday we talked about self-acceptance as one benefit of practicing compassion. So he talks about forgiveness, that it won't be possible until compassion is born in our hearts. Even if you want to forgive, you cannot forgive. In order to be compassionate, you have to understand why the other person has done that to you or your people. You have to see that they are victims of their own confusion, their own worldview, their own grieving, their own discrimination, their own lack of understanding and compassion. So suppose you're angry at your father. Many people are angry at their father, and yet if they don't do anything to change it when they grow up, they will repeat exactly what their father did to them. They will do that to their own children. So he talks about a specific meditation exercise that he guides many people through in dealing with anger and practicing forgiveness. And it goes like this. Breathing in, I see myself as a 5-year-old child. Breathing out, I hold that 5-year-old child in me with tenderness. Breathing in, I see the 5-year-old child in me as fragile, vulnerable, easily wounded. Breathing out, I feel the wound of that little child in me and use the energy of compassion to hold tenderly the wound of that child. But then you continue. Breathing in, I see my father as a 5-year-old boy. Breathing out, I smile to my father as a 5-year-old boy. Breathing in, I see how, as a 5-year-old child, my father was fragile, vulnerable. Breathing out, I feel compassion for my father as a 5-year-old boy. When you are capable of visualizing your father or whomever you need to forgive as a 5-year-old child, fragile, tender, full of wounds, you can begin to understand and feel genuine compassion. When the son is capable of practicing understanding and compassion, he no longer suffers, and the father in him is also transformed. That moment, compassion is born in your hearts. Now it is possible to forgive. I love that practice in being able to visualize the other as someone who's also suffering, even if you feel that they've caused you anger, resentment, grief. So in conclusion, I wanted to quote TKV Desikachar. He's a yogi. And he said that the way we know yoga is working for us is if our relationships are getting better. Interesting, because all of that inner work definitely emanates in those who are closest to us. So let's dive first into our relationship with ourselves, our bodies, our minds, our breaths. So as you're sitting down, firm through both sitting bones, lift through the center of your spine, and broaden your chest. Invite you to place your left hand at the center of your chest, stacking the right palm on top. And as you become still, pause to notice anything you feel in that region, whether physically, energetically, or emotionally. Expand your observation into the other areas of your body, the other parts of your being. So what do you need out of your practice today? Is there some part that's feeling vulnerable, that needs to feel nurtured, listened to, rather than brushed off aside? And clarifying your attention, take a deeper breath. Feel your lungs expand, the center of your chest rise. And then through the mouth, let it go. Even slower. As you inhale more deeply, ground through the pelvis, lift through the crown of your head. And draw it out through your mouth. Again, inhaling, fill up space, rising taller. And exhale, feel that letting go. Now slide your palms down to your stomach, closing your lips. Continue to breathe deeply and as equally as you can in and out through your nose. But now filling up the belly, also fill up the lungs using your diaphragm. Exhaling through the nose. You start to help the body warm up. So we've also been practicing a breathing technique called Bhastrika Pranayama, which is enlivening for the lungs and body, helps to increase oxygen intake, as well as calming, clearing for the mind. So I'm going to set the timer for 1 minute for those of you that want to practice that with me. And here's how it goes. There's an action that goes along with it. So as we continue that belly breath using the diaphragm with the mouth closed, eyes closed, we start with the elbows bent apart and hands like fists. Shoulders stay relaxed. And as you deeply inhale, you raise the arms and spread your fingers wide. And as you exhale equally as long, you rebend your elbows and refist your hands. And it's rhythmic like this. So do what you can if you're practicing with us. Prepare to start. 1 minute. Ready? Go. And relax. That's 1 minute. Just pause a moment and breathe naturally. Observe how you're feeling. Then sustaining your breath through the nose, start to cultivate Ujjayi Pranayama, victorious breath. Softly narrowing the back of your throat so that you invite a smooth and rhythmic whispering sound. Tracking that sound, gently open your eyes and let's come up to stand at the very front of your mat. Separating your feet apart, a little wider than hips distance. Spread your toes, parallel your second to each other. And let me just make sure that everybody's on. Come to stand and reach your hands behind you, interlacing the fingers. If you find that's difficult because of any tightness in the fronts of your shoulders, you might want to grab your strap here and hold it between the hands with the thumbs pointing to the outsides of your body. Then bend your elbows close together as you broaden the chest and take a deep breath, tilting your heart up. Bending your knees generously, fold from your hips, trying to keep the feeling of a flat back, even if it requires bending your knees more deeply. Tilting your weight forward, feel it shift heavier onto the balls of your feet. And then keeping the knees bent, firm your belly against your spine and inhale, lift the chest, elongating the spine parallel to the floor. Keep hugging the bent elbows close together and then hinge forward a little bit more. And let's stay in this forward fold with your hands clasped for about 5 more deep breaths. Continuing to lift the arms forward and away from your lower back, relaxing the mouth. You might like to softly move your head in different directions, really freeing up any tension you might be clinging to in your neck or your shoulders. Now think of lifting your shoulders up and away from your neck as you let your skull just hang heavily. Couple more deep breaths. Nice, and then from here, lower your fingertips outside of your heels where you might have blocks in case the ground feels too low for now. And step the left knee back into a kneeling lunge, untucking the back toes, separating your legs as wide apart as your hips, stacking the front knee right on top of the heel. And then from here, just imagine your tailbone like roots of a tree seeking the ground right beneath it. As you begin to slowly lift the frontal hip bones, putting the hands down as you send the fronts of your shoulders back and taking just a couple more breaths, helping to broaden the collarbones while feeling length along the back of your neck and skull. Setting your hands flat, step into a modified plank pose. So your knees are directly under your hips and your wrists directly under your shoulders. Spread the fingers wide and gaze at the floor ahead of your hands. Feel engagement of your lower belly. And as you exhale, shift forward for a modified vinyasa. Lower your chin first to the floor. Bending the elbows close to your side ribs. Slide your chest and belly, then pelvis, until your legs are straight. Tops of the feet are firm on the ground. With your wrists alongside your floating ribs, breathe in and coil your chest up lightly into a baby cobra. Let's pause here for a couple more breaths to feel there's not added tension in the neck or shoulders by looking slightly down, softening the tops of your shoulders down your back. With an exhale, press up to all fours again, tucking your toes, lift your pelvis high and draw your sitting bones back into downward facing dog. The first one, you might want to take a moment to shift around any way that feels good for you, like pedaling your feet to help warm up your hamstrings and calves, or softly moving your head around again to really relax the neck and jaw. Feel that your index fingers are both pointing forward, not towards each other. As you wrap the outer sides of your upper arms towards the ground, lifting the shoulders away from your neck, just letting your head hang freely. Now from downward facing dog, inhale, raise the left leg behind you, squaring your hips to even heights. Exhale, slowly contract the belly, using that contraction to softly land the left foot just inside of your left hand. Lower the right knee, kneeling lunge. Untuck the back toes, heel your legs, hips width apart, front knee right over the heel. Keep your fingertips either on the ground or blocks. And again, imagine your tailbone like the roots of a tree seeking the earth and below the surface of it. As you gently firm the belly in, lifting the frontal hip bones, breathing wide across your heart energy center, drawing the shoulder blades down the back. As you gently lift the heart space, one more breath. As you exhale, step your right foot forward, hips distance from the left at the top of your mat. Sweep the arms overhead as you inhale to rise tall in mountain pose, gazing up, saluting the sun. Exhale, bring your hands together at your heart. Inhale, raise the arms overhead. This time a little more flow. Exhale, fold in. Press the legs to the ground. Inhale, lengthen forward. Lower your fingertips outside your heels. Step the right knee back to a kneeling lunge. Inhale, lift the heart, broadening the chest. This time, go right into plank, whether knees are on the ground again or legs are straight. You decide if you lower the chin first or slide forward through Chaturanga Dandasana. Ground the tops of your feet. Inhale to Cobra, just one in breath. Pressing up through your version of plank. Exhale, lift the pelvis back to downward facing dog. Now just take one breath here. On an inhale, raise your right leg behind, balancing your two hips. Contract your belly as you exhale to softly step the right foot inside of your right hand. Lower the back knee, keep the hands down, and breathe in, lifting the heart. Exhale, step the left foot forward and fold at the top of your mat. Sweep the arms. Inhale, rise all the way up. Exhale, join the palms together at your heart. We're going to change it up now. Inhale, sweep the arms up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, lengthen halfway, fingertips down. Exhale, left knee steps back, kneeling lunge. This time, raise your arms overhead and cactus bend the elbows apart, lifting the chest with a deep inhalation. Lower the hands to plank and exhale. You decide your vinyasa coming down. Knees chin or chaturanga. Breathe into cobra or upward facing dog. Exhale, lift the hips to downward facing dog. Taking one cycle of breath here. Then inhale, raise your left leg back. Balance the hips. Exhale, contract the belly, step it forward, kneeling lunge, back knee to the ground. Keep the arms up, cactus bend the elbows, and coil the chest on a deep inhale. Circle the hands to the top of your mat, exhaling to step forward to bow. Inhale, rise up, palms meet in salutation. Exhale, bring that together at your heart. Again, changing it up more. Inhale, raise the arms. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, lengthen halfway. This time, step the ball of your right foot back into a high lunge. Inhale, rise all the way up to crescent. You can keep a bend in the right knee if you like. Exhale, backstroke the hands into plank pose, lowering through plank in your way of vinyasa. Cobra or upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. One breath here. Inhale, raise your right leg behind you. Slow and controlled, set the foot forward into a high lunge. Inhale, rise up into crescent, backstroking the arms slowly so that as you exhale, you land the fingertips top of your mat and step forward to bow. Inhale, rise all the way up. Exhale, join the hands together at your heart. All right, from here, see that your feet are hip width at the top of your mat. Bring your hands to your hips and feel your two hip bones continue to face forward while you step your left foot back. Let's say 2/3 as far back as you did in your high lunge. So slightly shorter stance so that you can keep both legs straight and both soles of your feet entirely on the ground. Make sure it doesn't feel like you're trying to balance in a tightrope. Feet are about hip width. And then bring your hands behind your back so that we can open the chest. You can either decide to press fist to fist, hold opposite elbows, Or reverse prayer, sliding the fingertips up towards between the shoulder blades. Then firm down through toes spread, heels grounded. Engage the fronts of your thighs, engage your belly, and broaden your chest. Sliding the shoulders down your back, take a deep breath and lift your heart. Exhale, lead from that space, elongating your spine as you begin to fold inside of your right thigh. Just a little bit up per breath. To scissor the right hip back that starts to shift forward, to maintain the squaring of your hips, which helps to balance the length in both sides of your waist. Inhaling, firming down through the feet, continue to lengthen the spine forward. Keeping your throat open, exhale to fold. Finding your own range of folding over your right leg, where your shoulders don't start to close up your neck, nor your back begins to round. But instead, you can keep a slightly broad and lifted chest, like a tiny version of cobra. Let's take 2 more breaths here in pyramid pose, Utthita Parshvottanasana. Now, breathing in, start to lift the spine parallel to the floor. Let's add a spinal twist. So lower your left hand either on the inside of your right foot, where you could have a block under if it's too low, or on the right side of your right foot if you want a deeper twist, a little more challenge to balance. Using your right thumb, hook the crease of your right outer hip back and lengthen the spine forward as you breathe in. Now, keeping the pelvis still, rotate your chest to face the right wall little by little, raising the right arm up so your right palm faces the right wall. Firming down through both of your feet, keep your legs energized, engaging the quadriceps. Feel the spaciousness in your spine as you're twisting at your waist, extending the shoulders away from the neck. So here in revolved triangle pose, let's take 2 more deep breaths. Great way to feel decompression of the spine and find some length in it afterwards. Now setting your 2 hands down. Inhale, look forward. Exhale, step the left foot hips distance from the right. Inhale, circle the arms to rise all the way up. Side 2. Bring your hands to your hips, keep your hips facing forward, and step your right foot back 2/3 as far as you did in your high lunge. Grounding both feet equally, keeping the legs straight. Bring your hands behind you, either fist to fist, catching the other elbow on top, or reverse prayer as you open the chest. Engage the fronts of your thighs, your belly, and broaden your chest, sliding the shoulder blades down. Take a deep breath, tilt your sternum up. Exhale, lead from there, and start to hinge towards your inner left shin. Breathing in, ground firmly through your feet, and lengthen the spine forward. Breathing out, hug the hips squared, and fold. And finding your range where you can maintain a sense of integrity here in the spine and breath. Integrity meaning you're not closing up chin to chest, nor shrugging, adding tension in the shoulders and neck. Face is relaxed, breath is deep, smooth, and even. Let's take 3 more breaths. Utthita Parshvottanasana. And leading with your chest. Come up just halfway so spine is parallel to the floor. Lower your right hand either on the right side of your left foot or on the left side, which adds more challenge and depth. Using your left thumb, hook the outer crease of your left hip back just enough to rebalance the hips. Firm down through both feet without gripping with your toes. And breathe in to elongate the spine, sending the shoulders back. Exhale at your waist, turn your rib cage so your chest begins to face the left wall, little by little, and raise the left arm. Palm facing the left wall. Let's take about 3 to 4 more breaths here in revolved triangle pose, or Paritta Trikonasana. feel that your eyes and mouth are relaxed. No added unnecessary tension. Deep inhale. Exhale your 2 hands down. And again, step the right foot forward and fold at the top of the mat. Inhale, circle the arms to rise all the way up. And then let's turn to face the wide width of your mat. Feel free to grab your blocks if you find them useful for triangle pose. Open up your arms as you stand at the center of your mat and step or jump your feet almost as wide apart as your wrists, slightly shorter. Have your blocks behind your calves. If you only have one, place it behind your left calf as I'm mirroring you. So from your hips, rotate your thighs and pivot both of your feet so that you turn to face your left foot as your front leg. Then align your left heel to intersect the arch of your right foot, firm the fronts of your thighs, and open your arms so that your chest completely faces the side wall at the wide width of your mat. Glide your pelvis sideways towards your rear leg and reach the left hand forward before lowering it onto your left leg or to the left outside of your leg, perhaps using your block. Press arm and leg against each other to feel stability and to help lighten the weight of your left hand. Feel the reach up to the right hand as you turn the chest slightly more to face the sky. Let's take about 4 more deep breaths here in triangle pose. Utthita Trikonasana.
We are the proof of life our ancestors gave.
Nice, firming down to both of your feet. Inhale to rise all the way up. Rotating from your hips, pivot both of your feet to face the opposite edge of your mat. Side 2 of triangle. Open the arms. From down through your feet, engage the front muscles of your thighs. Slide your pelvis sideways towards your rear leg, reaching the right hand forward as far as you can before tilting it down. To land on your right leg or just to the right of it, maybe on a block, where arm and leg could firm against each other. Wrapping your right outer hip under your body through the turnout of your right leg. Press the crease of your right hip back towards your left outer heel. And as you firm your left outer heel down into the earth, lengthen through the spine and out through the crown of your head. You feel those energetic lines? There's such a dynamic going on, even though your physical eyes might see a still pose. Let's take 3 more breaths.
We knock on heaven's door. We are the life that teems along the deepest.
I believe that seeing beyond the physical eyes, like we do in the yoga poses, is important for compassion and forgiveness. Being able to see beyond the surface of the actions that anger us or that we might take offense to, and see that humanness within. So root down to your feet. Inhale, slowly rise up. Parallel your feet. And bring your hands behind, switching the clasp of your hands like you did in the beginning. So opposite thumb and index finger on top. Inhale, roll the shoulders back, lifting the chest. And exhale, hinge from your hips, tilting more weight towards the balls of your feet so that you can align your hips with your ankles rather than protruding the hips behind the ankles. Let the crown of your head release down, and if it's not touching the floor, you could softly shake your head, making sure again that your neck and jaw are loose. You can help to flutter the lips a few times if you tend to carry tension in the mouth. We're here for just 3 more breaths in Prasarita Padottanasana. Again, reaching the arms forward with a slight bend in the elbows so that as you release your head down, you're lifting the shoulders away from the neck. Finding spaciousness throughout your spine and the backs of your legs. Then firming down to both feet, bend the knees, firm the belly towards the back, And lead with your chest as you slowly inhale to rise up. Pivot your feet to face the front edge of your mat. And with an exhale, cartwheel your hands to plank and lower to your own vinyasa, or a few rounds of cat-cow will meet in downward facing dog. Breathing in, breathing out, steady breaths. Downward dog. Inhale, raise the right leg behind you. And as you exhale, look forward and cross the knee to tap your left outer upper arm so that you're twisting at the waist, keeping the shoulders balanced. Inhale, slowly re-extend the leg to three-legged dog. Exhale, glide forward and tap the right tricep with your right knee. Inhale, raise the right leg, three-legged dog. Exhale, contract the belly and bend right knee towards your nose. Lifting the navel, softly land the foot inside of your right hand for warrior one. So like the lunge, keep your feet about hips width apart, but drop the back heel down and bending the front knee, rise up. Virabhadrasana 1. So feel that your two hips are facing forward. And as you're firming down through your left outer heel and straightening your left leg, you're spiraling your inner left thigh slightly towards your rear wall, while maintaining that bend in your right knee to stack just over the heel and drawing the right thigh bone back deeper into the hip socket. As you slightly lift your frontal hip bones, allow space in your lower back so the tailbone descends and you're slightly lifting the back ribs away from it. And as you raise the arms, wrapping the triceps forward, broaden across the tops of the shoulders and soften them down as you raise your heart. Maybe you seal the palms and gaze up, but steady your gaze and let's take 3 more breaths in your fullest expression of warrior one as it is in this moment.
I've got peace like a river. I've got peace like a river. I've got peace like a river in my soul.
And then from here, reach the hands behind you. Interlace the fingers and roll the shoulders back and down. Maintain the space in your lower back. Just a breath here to recognize that open and lifted chest. And then we're going to bring the arms either down by your sides, palms facing forward, or for added rigor, engage the back muscles, arms up again. Lean your torso forward diagonally. Connecting to the line down your left leg and heel. Keep scissoring the right hip back. Gaze at the ground ahead of your mat and begin to shift your weight into your right foot, lifting the left leg parallel to the floor as you square the hips, warrior three. Flex your left foot. Remember, you could add support by lowering your hands onto the floor or on blocks right under your shoulders. You could also bend your right knee if you're feeling a lot of resistance in your hamstring, or to help balance your two hips. Now, can you feel a bit of plank pose as you engage the lower belly and elongate this horizontal line from the crown of your head to your left heel? Last couple of breaths. Virabhadrasana 3. Do lower your hands when blocks or the floor. Lift the chest as though pressing your heart through the gates of your arms. Breathe in. Hinge from your hips, but keep lifting your inner left thigh as you flex the left foot to bow towards the right shin. And standing split. Remember, even though it's called a split, it doesn't matter how high you're lifting your left leg, but it does matter more that you're trying to keep your two hips balanced. Not beginning to turn out the left leg for the sake of feeling it rise higher, but maintaining that integrity of your hips and lower back. If you want to play with your balance further, you could wrap your right arm behind your right calf or both hands behind the right calf. Just a couple more breaths. Setting your hands down, cross your left leg in front of your right leg. Bending your left knee, straighten the right leg and hinge even deeper into your forward fold. Now you could place your hands wherever you like, whether it's the blocks or the floor in front of you, or you want to wrap both arms behind your legs, hold opposite elbows, but just be aware again of creating space in your neck and trying not to round your back. 3 more breaths in this cross-legged forward fold. All these forward folds for this very warm day in Los Angeles. Most of you are here. Helpful to cool off a bit, as well as invite some introspection in this compassion practice. Inhale, look forward, come up halfway. Exhale, uncross the legs, parallel the feet. Bring your hands to your hips. Breathe in to slowly rise. Mountain pose. Inhale, raise the arms up. Exhale, bow forward. Inhale, lengthen halfway. Step to plank, float to chaturanga, or take some cat-cows, you choose. We'll meet in downward facing dog. A few breaths in downward dog. Feel stability in your hands as you spread your fingers flat. Stability in the shoulders as you broaden the shoulder blades and lift them up away from the neck. Inhale, raise the left leg behind you, flexing the foot. Look forward and exhale, slowly tap your left knee across to your right outer upper arm, twisting at your hips. Try to keep your shoulders balanced. Inhale, raise the left leg again. Exhale, tap the left outer upper arm, coming forward into plank pose. Inhale, raise the left leg. Exhale, contract the belly to bend the left knee towards your nose and softly land the left foot forward inside of the left hand. Spin the right heel down, keeping your feet hips width apart and facing forward, rise up. Warrior one. So from here, feel your outer right heel firm against the floor as you straighten your right leg completely and spiral your inner right thigh slightly to face your rear wall. Keeping all of that, bend your front knee right up top of the ankle and plug the thigh bone back deeper into the hip socket. Balancing your pelvic bowl upright and containing the lower belly. As you raise your arms and lengthen through the sides of your torso, sides of your neck, wrap your triceps slightly forward and relax the shoulders down. You might decide to bring the palms together or gaze up, but do steady your eyes as we take 3 more breaths, feeling your fullest expression of this posture right now. Now reaching the hands behind you, switching the interlacing of your fingers. Bend the elbows close together and lift the chest while drawing the tailbone down. Maintain space in the lower back. Now feel this slight lift and broadening of the chest and either release the arms down to your sides, palms face forward, or overhead if you're looking for that extra rigor for your back muscles. Tilt your torso forward diagonally so that you're hovering your belly off your left thigh and gaze at the ground in front of your mat for a few breaths. This posture is called Degasana. Keep scissoring your left hip back as you bend the front knee over the heel, wrapping the right inner thigh towards your rear wall. Then as you're ready, slow and controlled, shift forward into Warrior 3. Right away, flexing your right foot, feel your right outer hip turn to face the ground. Remember that you could use your hands on the ground or on blocks for assistance. You could bend the left knee to help you square the hips and to relieve any unnecessary tension in the hamstrings. Do steady your gaze and feel your fullest expression of this posture that aligns with you right now. 3 more breaths. Warrior 3. Lowering your hands, Inhale, lift the chest as though pressing your heart through the gates of your arms. Keep that right leg alive, foot flexed. Exhale, hinge while lifting the inner right thigh. So as you're bowing towards your left shin, if you feel you want to play with your balance even more, you could wrap the left arm around your left, both arms behind the left calf. Really important how you engage the muscles in your lifted leg to help steady your balance. And of course, how's your breathing? Lower your hands in front and cross your right leg in front of your left leg, bending the right knee, keeping the left leg pretty straight. Inhale, lift the chest, lengthen forward, and exhale, fold in for several more breaths in this cross-legged forward fold. Now you decide what to do with your arms. You can place them on the ground in front of you. You could hold the other elbow on top. You could hold the backs of your legs. But be mindful of maintaining space in your neck, space for your breath. Lift the shoulders up, drop the head down. Couple more breaths. Inhale, lift halfway up, uncross the legs to a regular forward fold. Bend your knees, bring your hands to your hips. Inhale, lead with your chest to rise all the way up. So let's do some balancing more upright before we start to cool down. Grab a strap if you're needing any assistance in your hamstrings. Hand to big toe pose, Utthita Hasta, Parangushtasana. So come to stand with your feet touching and just take a moment with the arms by your sides to feel a sense of hugging your midline. So you're firming your feet towards each other, you're firming your outer hips towards the center. And with all of that, you're also rooting down as you spread your weight through the four corners of each foot in order to rise up and feel confident, lifting the chest, lifting the crown, and then steady your eyes on one spot just ahead of you. If you have a strap, take hold of it so that you can step the ball of your right foot into the loop or the middle of the strap. Place your left hand on your left hip and try to maintain the balance and height of both left and right hips. Bend your right knee, either stepping the foot into the strap with a little tension like a little tug of war, or you can hold your outer knee if you don't have a strap and keep the knee bent, or you could clasp your big toe with your right peace fingers. Flexing the right foot either way, pause to rebalance your hips and hug your midline. Root down through your standing leg and begin to extend the right leg forward to whatever degree that you could maintain the balance of shoulders and your spine upright. From here, you might raise the left arm towards the sky, relaxing the shoulders. Can you integrate some of the feelings of plank pose, even though we're vertical upright? So that's the navel drawing in towards the spine, the chest broadening, a strong line of energy from your inner left heel up the center line of your body, up through the crown of your head. Last 2 breaths. Now notice how this is pretty similar to Warrior 3. And then slowly step, right foot down to touch the left. If you need to give your left foot some movement, like rotating it at the ankle, shake it out, do whatever you need to reset. Then if you have a strap, go ahead and grab it for your side too. Set the feet together, spread the toes. Feel this rooting down and rising simultaneously. Feel the hugging in so you can expand open. Steady your gaze. Bring your right hand to your right hip. Now as you flex the left foot and raise the leg, either holding the strap, kicking into it as you pull it, holding the outer knee, or catching the big toe with your index and middle fingers, begin to straighten the left leg forward to whatever degree you can still draw the left shoulder back and down. You don't start to pull the upper arm out of the socket. Balance the shoulders, balance the hips. How's your breathing? Then you might add raising the right arm, Feel the earth below. Press into the support of it. Feel the sky above that you're reaching towards. Last 3 breaths. In hand to big toe pose. Remember all that engaging the quadriceps that we were doing and helping to support the hamstrings? Here's where we use it as well. One more breath in and slowly let it go. Perhaps you rotate the right foot a few times or just shake it out. And let's come down to our hands and knees, all fours, for your own heated inversion practice of choice. It could be downward facing dog, say 5 breaths and you rest and maybe go up again. It could be dolphin pose, coming down to your forearms, making sure the elbows stay shoulders width apart. It could be headstand or handstand that you might already practice. So take about 1.5 minutes to choose, resting after maybe 5 breaths or so in between in child's pose. Remember, those of you who are practicing headstand, that the majority of your weight is actually on your hands or your forearms, depending on which type of headstand you're practicing. So you're rooting down into the earth through the base that's carrying your weight most. And then you're lifting the shoulders up to help create space in the neck. Many of the same principles we've been practicing already in the forward folds. And to lighten the weight on your head, making sure that it's the very top center of your head that's meeting the ground if you are in headstand, so that you are maintaining a natural curve and space in your neck. No compression in the spine. And you're flexing the feet, hugging your midline. Feet are touching. Your legs are energized, similar to what we just did standing up in hand to big toe pose. So feeling the relationships between these various postures can be so helpful in feeling the energy dynamics within the postures. Taking your time as you feel ready, we'll meet in child's pose. A few breaths in child's pose, perhaps sighing it out through your mouth to help cool off the body a little bit. And then pressing your hands in the ground alongside your knees, tucking your chin to your chest. Inhale, slowly roll your spine upright. So let's come to sit with the legs in front of you, preparing for a hip opening, a little more shoulder opening posture called Gomukhasana. Grab a strap if your shoulders are feeling tight and need some assistance. Extend your left leg forward and take your right thigh, cross it over the left thigh so that you might be able to stack your knees down your midline. Either keeping your left leg straight and flexing the foot, if that's more helpful in keeping your pelvis balanced, or adding the bend of your left knee underneath, splaying the feet wider apart. Then to add the arms, raise your left arm. If you're using a strap, hang the strap behind you like a tail from that hand. Wrap the left tricep forward and bend the elbow behind the center of your head, drawing both shoulders down your back. Reach the right hand underneath, grabbing the other end of the strap, and walk your hands as close together as you can. Now, if you don't have a strap, you could be holding your shirt that you're wearing. You might be clasping the hands. Then firming down through both sides of your pelvis, breathe in and lift up through the center of your spine, opening your throat and slightly lifting your heart. Now, leading from your heart space, begin to hinge forward from your hips each time you breathe out, lengthening and grounding each time you breathe in. For a few more breaths. Cow face pose or Gomukhasana. Let's take one more deep breath here. On your next inhale, lead with your chest again and slowly rise up. Releasing your arms, release the legs straight, and just move out in any way that feels good. Then let's take the left thigh and cross it over the right, either keeping the bottom leg straight and the foot flexed, or bending both knees and splaying the feet apart. Raise the right arm, perhaps you're hanging a strap from that hand behind you. Rotate your right tricep forward and bend the elbow behind the center of your head, drawing both shoulders down. As the right palm lands between the shoulder blades, reach the left hand underneath behind you, grabbing the other end of the strap or your shirt and walking your hands as close together as you can. Maybe they clasp. As you firm down into the earth, lift up towards the sky, deep breath in. Exhale, open your heart space as you hinge, little by little, from your hips. Continue to grow the spine with the support of grounding your pelvis, softening the eyes and the muscles on your face. Taking 3 more deep breaths here in Gomukhasana. Then leading from your chest, breathe in to slowly rise up. Release the arms, release the legs, add any movement. Let's set up for bridge pose and then one more back bend after that. If you have a block, grab it and let's sit at the middle of your mat. Set your feet apart in front of your pelvis, parallel, hips width apart or as wide apart as the block between your thighs will allow. Skinniest width of the block. Then extending the arms forward, the palms face up, lower onto your back slowly, taking a few breaths to get there. Then as you land your head with your arms straight down by your sides, slide your feet back until you could almost touch your heels with your fingertips, but not quite, just almost. Keeping your feet parallel, spread your weight through the 4 corners of each foot. Rounding your shoulders, tilt your chin back slightly away from your chest. Then as you breathe in, lift the pelvis and actively reach your tailbone forward towards the space between your knees. Walk the upper arms closer together under your back ribs, and while keeping your elbows straight, not flaring apart, if your hands meet, maybe interlace the fingers too. Now activating your hamstrings by imagining, not visibly doing this, as though you're dragging the heels back towards your glutes, while slightly rotating your inner thighs downward towards the floor. Maintain parallel thighs, parallel feet. Feel the fullness of your in-breaths, raising the heart center, expanding the lungs, opening your front body down to your thighs and hips. Then you decide after 5 or more breaths, here in Setu Bandha, Sarvangasana, bridge pose, use an exhale to carefully lower one vertebra at a time. Not hugging the knees in just yet. Just let the pelvis settle down as you pause for maybe 3 breaths before choosing one last heart opening back bend of your choice. It could be the same. If you have a block, it could be the restorative version of bridge where you place that block under your sacrum and rest on it. Or maybe you prefer upward facing bow if you're feeling stable in your shoulders. You could set the hands down alongside your ears with your fingertips pointing at your shoulders, keeping the parallel thighs and feet also parallel the arms. So be mindful of not flaring the elbows apart from each other. Then from here, you begin like bridge, lifting the pelvis, activating the hamstrings, stretching the tailbone forward. Then you can decide if you want to bring the top of your head to the floor, in which you want to walk the shoulder blades down your back and broaden the chest. Perhaps you push off the hands and lift the head, really focused on elongating the tailbone towards the space between your parallel thighs, between your knees. Letting the head just hang freely as you open the chest. Bending mostly from right under your shoulder blades, not your lower back. If you are in Urdhva Dhanurasana or upward facing bow, you decide when you're ready to come down, just take the stages in reverse. Bringing crown of the head to the floor again, pausing. Then tucking the chin towards the chest, pausing. Then gently lowering one vertebra at a time and releasing the arms. You might like to circle out the hands and just stretch out the wrists after upward bow. So taking your time, once you have landed your pelvis onto the ground after your last back bend, separate your feet wider than your hips distance, keeping your knees bent. And just gently drop both knees to the left, breathing in. Drop both knees to the right, breathing out. Just a slow windshield wiping to massage the glutes and the lower back. A few breaths. From here, let's prepare for a spinal twist, extending the left leg forward. Now, if you have a strap, do grab it and step the ball of your right foot into it. Extending the right leg up. If you don't have a strap, you could bend the right knee. Sickle the right foot, turn the sole to face your left wall, and hold the strap with your left hand. Slide your right arm wide to the right, keeping the shoulder grounded. Scoot your pelvis a couple inches closer to the right edge of your mat. And then begin to cross your right leg over your body slowly into a spinal twist. You might like to turn your head to your right and make sure that right shoulder stays on the ground, even if it means lessening the degree of the twist. Now for about 3 more breaths, focus on drawing your right outer hip forward towards your left foot, creating space in your lower back. Inhale, slowly lift the right leg, and let's switch. Stepping the ball of your left foot into the strap or bending the left knee if you don't have a strap. Straighten the right leg forward. Hold the strap in your right hand, sickling your left foot. Turn the sole to face your right wall. Slide the left arm out to the left and ground the shoulder as you slowly begin to twist to your right. You might like to turn your head to the left. Keeping that left shoulder rooted down. Breathing in, breathing out. Draw your left outer hip forward towards your right foot. Let's take 3 more breaths. Deep breath in. Exhale, raise the left leg. And remove the strap if you have one. Now let's take just 1 more minute to choose a cooling inversion, a gentle way to lift the legs up higher than your heart. You could choose happy baby, or you want to ground the tailbone and shoulders. You could lift the legs straight up. If you're coming into shoulder stand, make sure your elbows are really close to your side ribs so that you can press the ground and use them as leverage as you use your hands to lift your lower back. Remembering not to turn the head side to side once you do lift the pelvis, and to be aware of maintaining the natural curve in your neck by tilting the chin slightly away from your chest so that you're not putting any weight on your neck. Perhaps moving into plow if you are in shoulder stand. Taking your time to transition towards your final resting pose. Add any gentle movements as you make your way down for a few breaths. Close your eyes as you land in Shavasana. I'm going to be playing a Sanskrit yoga chant, which is about compassion. Loka samasta sukhinu bhavantu. And it means, may all beings be happy and free. And may I contribute to that peace.
Samasta Sukhino Sukhino Loka Samasta Sukhino Samasta Sukhino Loka Samasta Sukhino Loka Samasta Sukhino Loka Samasta Sukhino Loka
Allow deeper breath. Wake up your body with gentle movement, simple stretch. Perhaps you gather your knees to your chest and give yourself a genuine hug of appreciation for committing to this hour of connecting to what's important to you as you set tone for your day. Begin to lift your body up in the way that you feel comfortable. Sitting tall, grounded. Join your palms to meet at the center of your chest, bowing in. So how can we find meaningful ways to integrate the practice of yoga in our lives so that it's not only about moving our bodies and enjoying a wonderful stretch, it's about moving our hearts and continuing to expand in this existence. Let's close, joining in one Om. Take a deep breath. The light in me bows to the light in you. Namaste.